hello. I am in absolute heaven because I got myself nature's oil, fragrance oils, and they are absolutely phenomenal. They really are. Oh man, I wish I could show this. The rose scent. Oh, it's really, really good. Roses have different scents. There are many different types of roses. What they all have in common is this very, very deep, sweet, almost like Nivea cream, and like almost a little bit like plum, and a little bit like cotton candy, and a little bit like baby cream, and it has geraniol in it. It has citronol. I don't know if I pronounce this correctly. It has all of these types of different pheromones in it. The rose itself. So earlier today I went out there and with the large picker, because I have to reach over the deer fence, and I picked up the white rose. It was in full bloom already, starting to get a little bit, was starting to wilt a little bit. So today was the day for me to pick it up, and I just sat down in the garden with that rose in my hand with infinite gratitude, and my perfume oils had faded away on my arm, so they weren't interfering, and I was able to really fully take in that natural, real, natural, essential rose aroma, and with all of its components, with the essential oils in it, and with the scent of the leaves and all of this, and the pollen inside and all of this. And that's very difficult to completely replicate that scent, and would probably be impossible to replicate that scent like 100%. But this rose oil from Nature's Oil is very, 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 very good. I really have to say that it comes very close. It actually comes very close to the natural. So I know that they also carry real, natural, essential rose oil and other plant oils. So for that you have to look up on their website for essential oils. Those are 100% natural, naturally derived through steam distilling or through the absolution process. So, but the fragrance oils, they all have the same price because it's synthetic fragrance that is at the base. Yes, the Papa Dog. Yes, it is nice today, Papa Dog. Yes, it is nice. I cleaned up the lawn, and Paul is gonna mow the lawn, and then we're gonna have fresh grass clippings, and they smell so incredibly good. And we collect them, we keep this because we use this in the house. It smells good, in buckets. And we use this for our composting purposes to cover up bad smells. So like in the kitchen or in the bathroom, we use the composting techniques. And you have to use a whole lot of grass clippings. You have to use like at least a third of the bucket, and not loosely. It has to be packed on. So that's why some people that do camping, they use kitchen compost to put on top of dung, so human or animal dung. So, and that completely takes away the smell, and I use the moist grass clippings work the best, but I also use dried grass clippings. Paul dumps it all out there on the parking lot in piles, and then I fill my buckets with that, and it works absolutely fantastic. In my bathroom now always smells really, really good, really natural. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. And we put the nutrients back into the soil, which is what every single person should be doing. Most people are not educated about this. I was thinking all day long as I was working out in the garden and also filling my big water bottles with filtered water that that is natural water that comes from the Cascade Mountains somewhere. And so but it has to run through a filter because it went through old pipes. So then we have to filter it again, which is sad that we have to do it, because I like that all natural water that has elements of kaolin clay in it. It's really, really good for you. So it would be nice to live in a dwelling that does not have any pipes at all, any kind of plumbing. So I want to get away from plumbing altogether. That is my dream. Here, I want to show you. Made a milkshake, which matches my shirt to some degree. Yeah, I'll show you the actual color of it. The color of it. And it has a whole lot of blackberries in it. I picked them myself today in the garden. I picked like a whole big bowl of it, and I put this all into the blender together with 2 frozen bananas and 1 container of almond milk. So all vegan and no sugar, no sweetener in it. And it's super, super sweet and delicious. Bananas are natural sweeteners, and they're perfect also for baking or any kind of dessert that you make if you blend them. And you can blend it with all kinds of things. You can blend it with flour or with oatmeal or with chia seeds, and you can make the most amazing bakery goods with it, and milkshakes, and vegan milkshakes, and vegan cakes, and vegan desserts. Super. Absolutely, absolutely delicious. Oh, and I also wanted to show you, I have new projects. Okay, I found this in the garage, these 2 things. They're actually packaging material from something, I don't know, garden tools or something that was in it, a drill motor, whatever Paul is buying. And then I told him many times that I need these in particular. Those are my favorite ones. These like a paper mache molds that are there to hold certain instruments in place. And I found that on the floor in the garage, and I was like, I need those. Those are my favorite ones. They are so incredible, you know. It's like they have my ideal shape. It's like something, this is a shape that I would create myself, you know. And it saves me a lot of time. I don't have to create this. So now I can just paint it and have fun with it. This is so incredibly gorgeous. This gets an eye over here. This has an eye there, and a whole face already. It's really great. I've also been picking up on my work on this painting, and this over there, it needs a lot more yellow. And then I need to correct out the unevenness, you know, the shakiness of the paint that gets out of hand. And so when people tell me, Oh, you can paint such straight lines. No, I can't. I'm painting drunk lines like everyone else. The key to this is that after my first rough sketch, the rough phase in the very beginning where I just blot the paint onto it and start to outline the specific contours, then it will take many, many, many application and reapplications of layers over layers to even this out, and I use eye measure because I have a very, very specific sense for an equilibrium of shape. So then I just go over it with the different colors and even them out. Like this little spot over there, I'm gonna have to go and even this out with the pink, and that's what I have to do over and over and over and over and over, and it takes me many, many, many months. So I'm not a fast painter. I'm not one of those quickie gut painters. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just not one of those. So, you know, I do this in the beginning of my paint process. It's like a gut process, but then comes in my sense of decoration, and but it's not in a sense of not a decoration sense of wanting to please someone, but just wanting to please my own senses. So, and that's why it's different, because I am not here to mimic anyone or to please anyone out there. And I had a conversation with someone about this on Facebook once, with a perfumer guy, and he got real mad at me, and he said, you shouldn't be painting for yourself, you should be painting for others. It's like, what? What? That's not art. If we paint for others to please someone else, that's not art. So art is when you please your own senses only, and when you completely forget about society, and also when you completely forget about like social sexual type of norms or whatever people have created, sexual type of fetishes and ideals. Disney World is full of that. For example, Barbie is full of that. It's like, it's an outdated fetish thing now, but but all of this is, like princesses with wands, and I don't know, all of this is just so completely outdated. So, and that has never been art. That has always been like to please society. What I'm doing is completely only for my own senses. And if nobody likes it, that's not my problem. I laugh about that. I snicker about that if people don't understand it or don't like it. And there was a woman once, she came to our house, former neighbor, and she looked at my artwork, and she didn't say a word. She just stood there. She was a retired teacher, literature teacher, I think. And she just stood there and looked at it with this facial expression like, like, what is that? And then she walked away without saying anything. It's not my problem though, it didn't hurt my feelings, because I know my artwork is fantastic, because I find it fantastic. I like it, just as much as I like my clothes, or my clothes are they're pretty good, but they could be better, there could be better clothes. I have better ideas for clothes, putting this into, but then I have to create it. And I have made several pieces of garments. I have made sweaters and I have made pants. So, but yeah, it's a real art also, It's a lot of trial and error until I get the piece that I really like in shape, where the cut is just right. It's the same thing with art, It's this art is an expression of the senses, and it takes a long time until we figure this all out. In particular, if it's connected to a specific skill of like sewing, so then it will take a couple of trials and errors. But we will get there eventually. So it's always been a dream of mine to find someone who would help me financially with creating a sewing studio and making real haute couture garments. So, and hiring people to help me with this, to put this into completion, the whole thing. And I personally sew by hand, takes a long time, many months. For every garment, for a sweater it would take 4 months. But I call it sewing meditation. Sewing is particularly difficult because you can lose the thread literally, and not just figuratively, not just with words, not just with thoughts, but you can lose the thread literally, and it happens all the time, and it's extremely aggravating and annoying. And then I breathe and I tell myself, okay, this too is part of the school, just like with everyday life. All these glitches and little accidents, this is part of school, or the big accidents too. So it's a soul contract. And once we understand all of this, once we really get it, then we can start to really relax and lean back and listen into ourselves and not run away from the fear and the hurt and the pain that is there. It's there, and it wants to be seen. It wants to be understood, like I said yesterday and or the day before yesterday, and in so many of my videos. It smells so good. So real Play-Doh. I love it. The real Play-Doh is much smoother, and I think it doesn't crack as much as the other one, the generic one. But they all smell good, but the real Play-Doh smells the best. They should make a Play-Doh perfume. Yes, Papa Dog is hot today. He is lying on the floor because he's overheated. Yeah, reminds me of my childhood. It was always nice playing with Play-Doh. And I've always been smelling on it my whole life. Smell on all kinds of things all the time. Flowers, Play-Doh, toys. I have a Cabbage Patch doll that smells like baby powder. They mix that perfume into the material, into the rubber material. Bought that Cabbage Patch doll for Carrigan Mental at Walmart. And he said those are not his eyes, so he knows that's not his. Well, a little bit, but they are very much the eyes of Javier Roberts, who has originally taken the idea from an artist lady, and Martha is her name, and forgot the last name now. It's been a while since I researched this, and she was mad at him for taking that idea and making it into a mass market, which she didn't want to do because those original dolls that she made, the Appalachian mountain facial features, like from Native American facial features, but very specific ones, and the way she interpreted them in the dolls is in a very specific way. So very lovely, very serious, very very austere almost. And then Javier Roberts came along. He saw her dolls on an art fair, and he said, "Why don't we mass market those? I can help you with this." And she didn't want to do this because then she thought it would lose its artistic characteristics. And I think it's sad that she declined this because they should have worked together on this. But she declined it, and she didn't want anything to do with mass marketing. But then, she doesn't hold the ultimate patent over the dolls and over this. If he had replicated them identically, then she could have done something legally, but he didn't. He made the dolls into his own face. So those are the eyes of Javier Roberts, who is, I don't know if he's partly Asian or if he is fully Native American, or the Native Americans, they also have different faces according to the area that they have lived, they have migrated to. So the Navajo, he looks a little bit more like Navajo. And so that's how the Cabbage Patch dolls look. They look a little bit more like Navajo, Native Americans, and very cute, very, very innocent, very, very round faces and chubby cheeks, and it's very cute, very sweet. They should always be grateful for the way they are, for the way they look, and not try to think that they need to now look like Brad Pitt or Vin Diesel. So, but appreciate the way you look, naturally, and not go under the knife or something. But really appreciate what you have and appreciate yourself for whom you are. That's very important, extremely important. Most people have physical insecurities, they feel inadequately looking or something, and almost all people have it, myself included. And yeah, we shouldn't be repressing that either. That's there, it's a feeling, it's there. It also wants to be heard, and If it comes up, we need to listen to it, and we need to find out, why do you feel like this? So what's going on? You talk to your inner child. Why do you feel like this? And then the child says, because mommy did not love me the way I am. She didn't have time for me. That must be my fault. I must be ugly. And that's not why. That's not why she didn't have time. She didn't have time because she was disconnected from her own nature, from her own feelings. She was disconnected by her ego, being in a frenzy of accomplishing things, of running a household and being a professional, or having problems with drugs, alcohol, or being addicted to certain things, or being dependent on boyfriends to write her, and then in the process she becomes disconnected. It's not the baby's fault, and we need to understand this. So everyone is perfect the way they are. Your body cells and your body is perfect the way it is. There's nothing wrong with it. It deserves love, like every other living being, like every dog, cat, pig, horse, every human, every child, every animal baby. Every being is perfect. The sea cucumber is perfect, Sea cucumber. It's a wonderful being. And it looks like this, and it feels good. And it just sits there in the tide pool. So it's perfect, every living being is perfect. Every plant is perfect. Every living being deserves infinite love, infinite nurturing. Very important. Very, very important that we are there unconditionally for our animals, that we give our animals everything they need. Protection from the heat, protection from cold, protection from dangerous elements, protection from storms, like that storm in Florida. I'm very, very worried about this. Very, very worried. Protect your animals. The animals are totally helpless and to the mercy of humans. Okay. The animals are your children. You have to protect the animals. For all the people out there that have farms, and so many people that would leave a danger zone and they leave the animals behind. And I have seen a report by Vice on Fukushima, and I was absolutely shaken by that. The Japanese people that had farms with cows, they just left their animals behind. Many of them left their dogs behind even. It's the same as leaving your children behind. You drive off and you leave your child there, your baby toddler, baby dog, adult dog, cows, baby cows. It was so bad that the cows were starving from hunger and thirst. And the baby cows were trying to drink milk from the mother, and the mother would kick them because they didn't have any. They could not support the baby. It was that bad. They were slowly dying in a real horrible, horrible way of hunger and thirst, because the people just ran off, left their animals behind. for a gruesome, gruesome situation. So my message to everyone is, please take responsibility for your animals. Provide them with everything they need, so they don't have to suffer. That's the most important thing there is. The most important thing. I worry every day, and I cry a whole lot too. And all I can do is, I can sign petitions, we can make the laws better, I can talk to people, I can educate people. Beyond that, there's not much leverage for me, So I can, but that's why it's important to make videos, even if very few people watch it. At least you did it, at least you tried. Make a video, inform people on the importance of providing your animals with water and food and protection from the elements. Very, very important. All of your animals and children and yourselves. The animals are the most helpless, so they have the priority. The priority is with the animals. We need to make sure the animals are safe. That's the most important thing. Okay? I want people to really understand this. It's very important that everyone understands this. If once you understand this, we can together make the world better for all of us, really, for every living being. And that this will also benefit you. It's nice to be creative. It's nice to paint and make things, particularly out of packaging materials. This board on the wall is a cardboard box, a flat cardboard box. He had some tools in it or something. And I tape it up with duct tape on the corners to make it smooth. I hang it up on 2 nails and I paint it. And it looks good, and it's gonna look really awesome. I'm gonna hang this up eventually in the hallway. There's one space open still. To reuse packaging material is a really, really nice way of creating art, because you can make your living room and all of your rooms really interesting when you paint this kind of packaging material. You tape it up with masking tape and duct tape to smooth it out, and you can also put some clay on it. You can also put some actual, like a chalk cement putty, like a cement putty for indoor home remodeling. You can use that too. I've used this also sometimes, made an eye, and I patched this onto the packaging material. Looks really good. Let that dry, and then you paint it. You can also, what other material can you use? I stay away from buying paper products, including paper mache, because they cut trees for this. So I don't buy anything that has cut trees. So I buy bamboo material because it's really fast growing, and we have so much stuff, so much cardboard that goes to waste, and most of it doesn't even get recycled. So recycled paper products are good too, but they can't recycle it indefinitely. At some point it becomes, it's not strong anymore in material. So I think renewable plants that are growing really, really fast, that are quickly regrown, quickly renewed in material. So without taking away space from forests or animals. So for any kind of open field where they can grow bamboo, where bamboo is already growing, like around the equator, in wetland type of areas, they can harvest that and they can make really great paper products, like tissue products and stuff out of it. Comes very close to the rose. It smells so incredibly good. It's a pleasure, to have good perfumes, perfume oils. It makes your life better. It makes you happier. For men too, I don't see why a man would not enjoy a rose scent, just because society told them not to. Forget about society, forget about all of these idiotic things that people told you in your life. Go by how it feels to you from the inside. That's very important. And it will not change your sexual orientation or your gender. Enjoy the things that are pleasurable, that are nice. I'm reading a biography about David Foster Wallace right now by D.T. Max. A love story is also a ghost story, and it is very, very well written, very humble, very sweet, very kind. And it's very, very, very terrible how David had to suffer psychologically. Very terrible. And I can so much relate to him with all of these things. He too had OCD, and he had BDD, body dysmorphic disorder, where we feel really insecure about our bodies, where we feel like, oh, we need to change that or something. So many people have it. That's why they go to the plastic surgeons. So many people have it. It's really bad. Some people have it severely, So I go into meditation instead. I make friends with my body parts that I used to not like so much. I pet them, I massage them, I say, you are the way you are, and you are infinitely precious the way you are, you know. And that's the only way to do it. That's the only way to exist at all. Not constantly be running away, because those people that do go under the knife, it won't take very long until they go under the knife again. And then it goes completely out of control. It derails. And it goes into insanity, and then they start to go under the knife all the time until even the greediest plastic surgeon says, sorry, you have overdone it already with your face. I'm not going to do any more. I'm not going to touch it. And at that point, they'll go to Mexico to someone who doesn't care, just wants the money, doesn't care whether that person comes out looking like a zombie. And they do, in the end. They come out looking like zombies. They started out looking really good in the very beginning. And then they come out, they look like they're ready for being casted as a monster it's a monster film. It's I'm not making fun of it. It is severely tragic, severely. And that's BDD, body dysmorphic disorder. They see it, they look in the mirror and they see themselves dysmorphic. They see themselves as mishappen, to completely out of shape, out of control. They see things like a thin woman will see herself as too fat. There are a few fat women in the world that will always see themselves as not fat enough. That's very rare, but that exists too. So I'm pretty realistic about this for myself. I personally like being chubby, but I don't see myself as too thin when I look in the mirror. But I don't see anything wrong with being chubby. So, but the way I am, it is a little bit over the line. So just a little bit over the line, the fatness. So should be less. And one should rigorously exercise every day and have a normal chubby weight. That would be ideal. Most people don't pay attention to this. When people exercise, they overdo it. People usually overdo things. But things always derail into some kind of obsession and exaggeration. It happens very fast, very quickly. Same with addictions also, very, very quick derailing from just a simple pleasure into more and more and more to drown out the pain, so they don't have to feel the pain, so they can feel a little bit good again, just a little bit good again. And we need to pay very close attention to all of this, because the bad feeling, when it comes up, it wants to come up. David Foster Wallace called it how did he call it? The big bad or something. Yeah. So, the doom gloom type of depression, where we feel worthless. It's also, Asterix talks about it, that's like the absolute bottom of emotional states, is that feeling of total helplessness and despair. That is the state when people are attempting suicide. So I know that state. I've been in that state many, many times in my life. I know how that feels. So I understand, I understand people when they try to, like a frenzy, to get away from this. That's why I share this and hope that what I say can maybe help someone where they can actually, instead of acting it out, instead of instead of hurting someone else, take that into themselves. Take this, the way that feels, and sit down with it and not run away with it. Not run away from it. Not run away with any kind of escape route. But just sit there in meditation and allow it to come up. And it's not going to hurt you. The hurt has already been done in the past. Now it's time to introspect and listen to that inner child talk about the way that feels, and let it talk. Sit through this. And if tears come up, it's okay. Yeah, you can cry. I have my toilet paper. You can cry. It's okay. That's the time to do it. And forget about other people. Forget about bullies. Don't worry about it. Stay away from them. So I'm staying away from the chat rooms now because I have wasted a lot of time in there. I hope I didn't waste so much time. I hope it did sink in with some people, what I said. I hope it did make some people feel better. I hope it's educated some people. But I spent way too much time in there. I didn't get any time for other things. Now I'm picking up on my art projects again. Even sewing my sweater now. I put my Microsoft computer back to factory setting. It's like new now, and they don't call it factory reset anymore. Because Bill Gates makes it as difficult as possible for any kind of lay person, any kind of regular person who's not a computer programmer, to figure out how to put the computer back to its original state, and to eliminate all the bugs out of it and the cookies and whatever is in there, or any kind of hacking or misprogramming that happens after a couple of years. So you have to cleanse your system out unless you want to get a new computer. That's what Bill Gates really wants. He wants you to buy a new computer. I think he makes more money that way. But no, you can, if you have a computer that you're not even using that often, that's almost like new, why get another one? I'm not going to buy a Microsoft anymore, so that's already for sure. So I have this gateway, it's a Microsoft Windows. I put it to Windows 10, which was a mistake. Because there's a reason why I offered that for free. So why I wanted everyone to upgrade, in quotation marks, to Windows 10. There was a Windows 7 before originally. So, but I finally figured it out. So a lot of figuring and figuring, so as I call it. And then okay, so there it is. It's named differently now. So reset. Okay, they're trying to make it sound more like Google. No, they're copying a lot from Google, but they won't allow Google to use anything that they claim to have come up with. So big lawsuits going on because of all this shitty copyright infringement bullshit out there. Oh gosh, that causes that causes such enormous problems also with compatibility issues and all of this. It's so ridiculous. All of this. That's my copy. You know, Elon Musk has all of his inventions out there for people to use. Yeah, he wants people to use his inventions. He'd never patent anything. He wants people to do it, and they sure do. They would never share their stuff with him or anyone. But they, yeah, Mercedes-Benz, for example. That's a terrible company. I don't even want to buy any. I don't ever even want to buy a vehicle from them. We're gonna get the large Ford. No, it makes me so mad the way Mercedes-Benz has behaved. Oh God, wow, incredibly, incredibly bad. Elon Musk is the caring entrepreneur in the world. One of the few. Yeah. One of the very, very few caring entrepreneurs and inventors and rocket scientists, particularly among the rocket scientists. He may be the only caring one. So, yeah, because he wants to make the world better. He wants to help. He puts his own money in over and over again, to the point where he's been sleepless and didn't know how to continue and all of this. Been sabotaged, like endless sabotage from the oil industry that sent collaborators and infiltrators to his company and to try to sabotage him from the inside out and from the outside in, and any way they can. I wouldn't be surprised if they sent him a Monica Lewinsky hooker or a James Bond female body part power spy to but you know, there's nothing to spy. He has everything already out in the open. There's nothing to spy. That's the beauty about Buddha souls. They have nothing to hide. I'm an indigo only, but I have nothing to hide either. So why should I hide? I mean, what's there to hide? I'm a living being. People probably spy, you know, in the most private moments. Who knows? You know? They spy, and then I do this. Yeah, please, brother. Got nothing to hide, okay? I don't have any Russian connections.